Welcome back to Derry Public Radio. Reporting from the basement of the Derry Civic Center, this is CM Alexander with the news. The final match in this year's Derry Public Library annual Dodge Book Tournament has just ended. We take you live to sports correspondent Dr. John Hellajohn.
Thanks, CM. A Christmas Carol comes early this year. Despite great expectations to the contrary, despite the hard times, our mutual friend Oliver twisted out the win of their careers. Congratulations to the Brawls Dickens on their first Dodge Book Championship. Now let's all head to the after party. I hear David Copperfield will be there.
You're listening to Derry Public Radio. This is Derry Public Radio. Oh, I have to think of an opening.
Oh, I thought you said you did the opening. You wrote your opening.
Okay.
You just wrote the opening for the first episode?
Forgetting that we were going to record all 3 episodes.
You're a national treasure.
I had to keep that level of unpreparedness. This is how the episode is starting.
Good. Well,
listeners, you're with CM Alexander alongside Joshua Kahn and Benjamin Graham.
Hey, constant readers. I was looking at my phone and the episode started.
We just segued into a real natural opening.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I love
It's a goof. It's a goof
And I was
episode.
here the whole time.
I did my job.
And what are we back with?
Man.
You looked at me so confident that
I
you
did.
had done it. You'd
Listeners,
gotten it all.
I actually try really hard to give you a memorable March Madness opening, and I apologize for today. We are back with March Madness. It is our final round. We have to really test how well we objectively rate things, which is terrible.
That's the point of these episodes.
Now, we have taken the top 16 deadliest women in Stephen King, and we have brought that down to our top 8. And before we leave, we are going to... What?
Nothing.
No, you have to.
No, I don't want to.
Was it the phrasing of women in Stephen King?
Women in Stephen King. I didn't laugh out loud.
Deadliest women in Stephen King.
No, it's say you keep saying women in Stephen King.
Do I?
Never mind.
In Stephen King. Ben and I are being children. It sounds sexual. These are the women in Stephen King. They're deep inside
I'm so
him.
glad that I made a face and all of this happened. This is why we shouldn't record 3 episodes in a row, you guys.
Listen, I
they
just
fall
had
apart.
a glass of Moxie.
Yeah.
You're
We're all
jazzed
out
up
of
on
our
Moxie.
minds.
We're mad on Moxie.
Money, please.
All right, let's do our first matchup of this final episode, where we have Charlie McGee facing off against Dana Jurgens. Now we have Dana Jurgens is once again our lowest seed. So CM, where's this fight going to take place?
It's taking place in Flag's penthouse.
Nice.
All right, so she has an array of weapons, a knife, a banana, and broken glass.
Yes, perfect.
And Charlie has an infinite realm of fire.
Charlie has the power of a million suns.
Now, I'm going to spring on you the condition for the rest of March Madness.
Oh, okay.
Damage carries over, folks. So we have to establish not only who's going to win these fights, but we got to take into consideration what shape they're in after their first fight.
Okay.
So, what do you think the damage? I think Charlie probably didn't get hit.
Yeah,
No.
I think Charlie comes in pretty unscathed.
Did she touch any water or eat any seeds?
She might have eaten a seed.
Yeah, worst case
She ate an
scenario.
Mm.
Oh, well, then that's pretty bad.
Yeah, because what happens when she eats an apple?
What?
Wait, what do the seeds do?
Yeah, no, that's why I was like, that seems bad.
Our seed eats a seed. And it...
You can't reseed the seed.
Oh, shoot.
What?
It's sports terms.
Okay. Not a physical consequence, but do you think having had to take out Rosie gives Charlie any hesitation in the second round? Or is the having made the kill make her more ready?
And this is after the shop, right? Because that's her peak power. So she's killed a lot of people. So she's probably past the shock of killing someone.
Keep in mind, she doesn't do a lot of up close and personal killing.
That's true.
That's a lot of exploding buildings and everybody dying and throwing fireballs into lakes and such. I mean, she does blast some people very specifically.
Yeah, but she knows she's killing people.
Yeah. So you don't think that any...
No,
right.
I think she'd be prepared for the start of this round.
Yeah, and I think there might actually, if these fights carry over between their stats between fights carry over, I think we might have a problem going forward, because Charlie might break the game. Because the longer she goes on, the more she opens up with her powers, we know the harder it is for her to stop. So if I guess in the first fight, probably she didn't have to go all that hard, but as her powers are ramping up for harder and harder fights, if she is getting to the point where she is, having to throw the fireball in the lake, so to speak, it may be by the time we get to the finals, Charlie's just like the burning inside of a sun. Like,
I mean, she could essentially supernova.
Yeah. I don't think we're at this point, though.
No, but I also wonder, like, right now she hasn't taken on any damage, but I can't imagine if she takes out Dana, that Dana wouldn't at least get a few shots in, because to Dana's preparation. So in this second round, now they know more. They've been through this once. CM let her have an equipment loadout. So, I mean, she was prepared to take on a god, essentially, to all, as far as any of them knew. So I don't think she'd be intimidated. I don't think the getting fire thrown at her would rattle her.
Yeah, I could see her dodging that and throwing a knife.
Is the penthouse just a penthouse, or is it the penthouse? In what state is the penthouse? Is the window already broken, is what I'm saying? Does she have
She's
an
not
easy
dead.
opportunity to kick a little girl through an open...
She does. The window is broken because CM said she had shards of glass, and that's where that came from.
Yeah, that's true.
So the window's broken.
So you think she's gonna...
See, actually, no, now that we're getting into it now, because Charlie doesn't want to die, right? I don't imagine there's a lot of good that obliterating the top floor of a hotel while you're inside it. I'm wondering if she'd have to rein herself in a little bit to not make it unable for herself to escape.
Yeah, she can just bring the whole thing down.
Right. Whereas the labyrinth scenario, she could just fill that whole thing with fire, not have to give a shit. The collateral damage, she has to risk the structure she's in too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to devise a scenario in my head in which a supernatural ball of flame does not win every fight.
It happens in stories all the time.
That's true, because if she was the antagonist of a book, a Stephen King book, somebody would defeat her.
Yeah. There's always some way.
Mm-hmm.
See, now, let's see who... CM, you're first. So I don't know if you guys are feeling where your vote's going to fall.
Yeah, I am. I still think Charlie's got the upper hand at this point.
Charlie?
Yeah, I think in this fight, there are really two tiers of King characters, and they are the people that are people, and then the people that can blast you out a window with a big fireball.
That is true. Now, does Charlie sustain any damage from this fight that carries over? Does Dana get a knife in?
I think she gets a knife in.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's give her a little gap for
All
the next
right.
fight.
So Charlie advances with a stab wound.
Yep.
Next, we have Bobby Anderson and Abra Stone. Ben, since the objectively weaker person here is Bobby Anderson, where is this fight going to take place?
If it's Bob, I want to see if we're designing a game
Yeah,
here, there
of
has
course.
to be a stage on the Tommyknockers ship.
That makes sense.
Like, how cool would that be?
Especially since Bobby
Yeah.
never got to get on the ship.
Shrewd Guard's ship.
Ayo!
Yeah, it's
Oh, and in the backstage of the level design is the Tommy Knocker from the movie that just is constantly like
The blow-up doll.
cartwheeling. Yeah, you can do a secret level move that just sends it swirling
Why,
through the level.
why was there a blow up doll on the
it
ship?
pops up at the bottom of the screen like the toasty guy.
Yes. So we have Tommy Knocker technology surrounding us.
Okay.
Is the arena advantage that we are going to give to Bobby in this fight.
You know what? Let's talk about fatalities for a second.
Good. Yes.
Fatalities obviously are the reason you play Mortal Kombat. They're the coolest, and I love them. So this fight particularly, I think my scale is going to be which one of these characters I want to see their fatality.
Fair. It's a very honest take on this.
Yeah, for sure. So what are we thinking are some cool fatalities for these characters?
Can we recap Abra's powers?
All of the shining, just all of it.
Yeah, she shines. She can do the
Body swap.
the body swap is cool.
She can project holographic images that aren't there.
Yeah, she can a mind palace.
Mm-hmm. And she's a touch no.
Jeez.
And loves baseball gloves.
I think Bobby's only advantage is for Abra to touch her and see what has happened to Bobby.
You think empathy is going to make... You really want a peaceful resolution to
I
one
know.
of these fights.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep doing
You
that.
wanted it to be bloodlust.
Now I'm sowing seeds of something kinder. No, I'm just thinking maybe when she makes physical contact with her, she hesitates because she gets hit with alien technology. Like, I mean, she's seen some shit, but she would even be surprised by that, right?
Yeah. And if we're on the ship, I imagine we have all the pieces to assemble. Ben, what's something that Bobby could build to fend off the powers of Abrastown?
I mean,
She's got so many batteries.
well, then anything. That's like the Tommyknockers rules thing, right?
Yeah.
As long as you have batteries and shit to duct tape them to, you can make whatever technology that you want. So I think her fatality is probably like Cabal's in Mortal Kombat 2, where he shoves a hose in your mouth and then blows up your head like a big balloon.
See,
But with more glowy green shit.
it's not as cool cinematically, but here's how I think Bobby defeats Abrastown. By making it a cat and mouse game, because she's got to be on the run, and lure her into a place where she can use the Tommyknocker technology to teleport her to Planet X, to strand her on the planet where the little kid is. Because she's not going to be able to kill Abra. There's no way she is going to be able to pull that off. Her only option is to trap her someplace she'll never be able to return from.
I think you're right. But what actually happened is that Abra made Bobby think that's what she did. And Bobby's on Planet X and Abra's fine at home. She has the shining. She can do anything.
Here's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, no, you go first.
I thought you were going to say she tricks her into thinking she sent her there. And then when she's doing the clapping her hands oh, got it all done, she turns around, Abra's right there, and Abra explodes her heart.
I mean, yeah, I
But
guess since
I
you're
like that
making
you
it a
went-
death to the match
That you
to the
went
death.
cartoonish and then she accidentally sent herself to the planet.
See, what I like is imagining a fatality where at the end of the fight, you just find out that it didn't happen and the characters all are at their house.
If I was a Mortal Kombat character, that would be my fatality.
One of the games had friendships, so you could end.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat 3,
3 had.
I think. I don't know.
See, I'm just an old school Mortal Kombat girl.
Yep, classic. All right, Ben, you have the first pick.
I'm going for Bobby because without the context of having read Tommyknockers recently, I think the Tommyknockers are really cool.
Fair.
Wow.
Fair.
I like on paper the idea of people who have alien technology that are made out of like cardboard and batteries.
Yeah.
And then you read the book
mean,
and you
it is
go,
fun.
oh, this doesn't work. But
They make a projector of the top of the church or the clock tower so that nobody knows it blew up.
so
That's
dumb.
so stupid, and I love it. It's so insane. I remember reading that and being like, that can't be what's happening.
Imagine if Gaunt came to that town.
That'd be rad. That'd be rad as hell.
Why hasn't King started making mashup books? Stephen King's What If? What if Leland Gaunt set up in the town from Tommyknockers? I would read the
I
shit
would read
out
the
of that.
shit out of that, yeah. Man, I gotta go Abra. As much as I made the argument for it, I think her shine is just, in the end, I think she's gonna be that one step ahead.
I agree. The shine is she can kind of just do anything, no matter like whatever the situation calls for. It's one of those powers.
Yeah.
It seems like.
But she's not gonna get out of this unscathed. So everybody's going into this final round with some sort of consequence. So what is Abra's?
Bobby chops off her arm.
Holy fuck! I'm taking it. Abra with one arm.
Well, because she degloved Rose the Hat, so it's full circle.
Yeah, it's real Star Wars shit.
idea-wise, it's
Okay.
it's harmony.
All right.
I'm harmonizing.
All right. Now here's
Yeah, just like Star Wars.
now here's
2063.
here's what's interesting, that you chose to harmonize the damage on Abra from something completely unrelated to Bobby.
Yeah.
Instead of having a consequence that's Bobby specific happen to Abra.
Do you
Which is
remember
more what
how
I
I do
thought.
fight night? I
That's a good
always
point.
do that.
That's a very good
I
point.
didn't even mean to. What would you have had Bobby do to Abra that was related to Bobby?
I don't know. I was thinking more like laser burn, something like more of a physical damage from the technology.
They're
being thrown
fighting
at her.
next to a
Laser.
teleporter and teleports away just Abra's arm.
There we go.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Abra had one arm.
She does it in a Bobby way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so she's not actively bleeding.
No.
The arm was like cleanly severed in
She
in the
just
transporter.
doesn't have an arm anymore.
Left or right?
No, left.
Oh, right.
No!
Left.
Left.
Sorry, listeners.
Such a dumb bit.
Next up, we have Carrie White versus Lacey Landon.
I don't like this.
This fight, because both of them were the lower seed last time, I'm going to say this fight takes place in Scott's study.
Okay.
It takes place in the whole of the barn. It doesn't have to necessarily be just the...
What if it takes place under the Yum Yum tree and they just become friends?
They advance together as a tag team. That's an interesting
team.
choice. The tag team of Lacey Landon and Carrie. I have to go to play WWE. I gotta go make a women's tag division. So we have Carrie coming into this fight after facing off against Annie Wilkes. I think we established Annie Wilkes would have gotten at least a lick or two in. How much damage is Carrie coming into this round with? Because I imagine it's moderate, in my opinion.
I assume that kind of like her mother did, but not as much because Carrie's like in the midst of destroying everything. I would say Annie probably got 1 or 2 stabs.
She was wielding an axe.
Oh, probably axed her at least once. Maybe she grazed her. Maybe she got her kind of like in the shoulder blade.
Ooh, getting an axe hit anywhere is gonna
Yeah,
fucking
not
take it out of ya.
life-threatening, but
definitely slows her down.
Yeah, definitely painful.
So she's got a good bleed happening right now. All right. Okay, so hold on. Carrie's covered in blood. We got to this is going to be a weird factor to add in. And we have Lacey, who if the fight ended the way we described it, I don't know if Lacey had any damage.
No, and
but-
if she did, she'd just drink some water.
I was just
Oh my
about to bring this up. Lacey has a huge advantage because whatever damage is done, she doesn't have damage carryover. She has healing abilities.
She sure does.
Yeah, so she's 100%.
All right, so we have a Lacey at 100% and a Carrie White with an axe wound in her back.
This is I'm going to present two scenarios and see which one you guys like. Because if we're talking fighting game mode, obviously Carrie is way stronger. Has
powers.
Powers and could tear Lacey in half. But the other option is if we're approaching this narratively, Lacey has to win. Because I fucking love the idea of this being a story. And Lacey's first fight was against fucking Rose the Hat. And Rose the Hat, as much as we hate her, is pretty powerful. Mm-hmm. I love narratively all of these fights happening. And Lacey, who's just a lady, just advancing through the ranks and everyone being like, oh shit. The underdog is really running away with it.
I mean, as far as the normal people, Lacey is one of the most, I wouldn't say like the toughest, is probably pretty high, considering the damage she takes from Dooley and still comes back fighting. Like, she's got the resilience, that's for damn sure.
She does, but all Carrie has to do is make that lighthouse fly right into her head, crushing it.
But how bad is the axe wound distracting her, slowing her down? Can Lacey outmaneuver that? And Lacey has the shovel. She could just use it like a bat and hit stuff away that Carrie's throwing.
There are stones raining from the sky and she's fucking Link and Ganondorfing them at Carrie.
Stones raining from the sky, and then rain starts to rain from the sky. Now we're in Booyah Moon, and it's just full of stones.
We're back. We got back to Booyah Moon.
Well, I mean, Lacey would have to do the same. I mean, she would have to try to get Carrie back to the place where she has the advantage, or shoot her. So we're assuming if this is at the end here and Lacey's recovered, her power had been cut, so Carrie's walking into the dark blind.
I didn't even think about the state that the study is actively in at that point in the book. You're right.
And technically, is Lacey alone?
Yes.
Okay.
There are no outside interference.
Okay.
Just the ghost of Scott, like sitting in the corner being like,
baby love. And then he vanishes. Like, that was not helpful, Scott.
So Lacey could have the element of surprise and have enough time to hit her over the head with a shovel.
How much will Carrie be prepared for having someone strap it on?
She died a virgin, Ben.
Margaret would hate it.
That's so... I forgot about that phrase being used so often in the Lacey story.
I did too.
Oh man, all I can say is it's my vote, and I think that the one who's eaten nasty at this violence buffet is Carrie White. That's my vote.
I also have to give it to Carrie. I think even injured, she's just so powerful. I don't think she leaves unscathed, but
no, I'll give a vote for Lacey out of respect.
Yeah, sure.
I think I was leaning towards Lacey, but the idea of Carrie White raining boulders down on Scott's study, taking down both Lacey and Scott in a way, pretty badass. So Carrie has an axe wound in her back. And what damage did Lacey inflict?
Oh, if she brought the study down on top of them, that's just a bunch of crushing damage.
She has Carrie White has a slight concussion.
Yeah, no. So the final shot of the fight is the collapsed building, the empty lot where the study stood, with a cross in it that says "Carrie White burns in hell."
And then her arm reaches out.
Reaches out from the ground, and leading to the next fight.
I don't know if we talked about this, but when we went to see Carrie at the Last Picture House, it wasn't until seeing it on the big screen that I noticed the cars moving backwards in the dream sequence. That blew my fucking mind. That's so fucking cool. I don't know how I never noticed that before. Seeing it on the big screen changes it.
Yeah, it does.
God,
What
it
a good
does.
movie.
It's so fucking good. Glad it won some awards.
So Carrie has a concussion and an axe wound in her
Yes.
shoulder. Okay.
Now let's see who will be facing off against Carrie as we pit Beverly Marsh against Holly Gibney.
This is a good one. Nobody has like crazy superpowers,
Yeah.
but they're both familiar with the supernatural.
And I don't imagine Holly as being that much stronger than a 12-year-old girl. She doesn't seem like the most buff of our competitors.
Sure.
She seems like a tiny lady.
Yeah.
So what does Beverly come into this match with? She just faced off against a haunted house.
Oh my gosh. You guys, Beverly has a slingshot and Holly has the happy slapper.
That's their equipment, right? All their special moves are based on that moveset, Ben. So if you got super moves with those, start cooking them up. God, we should have come up with signature moves for everybody. Yeah.
They're in Beverly's bloody bathroom.
Yeah.
That's very close quarters. Also, Holly has the advantage. She can't see the blood. She's an adult.
I feel like Holly would see it though.
After,
Because she's Holly.
After what she's been
She
through.
sees
Yeah.
True.
she sees things.
So let's make it Beverly's entire apartment instead
Okay.
of just the bathroom. I feel like that too close.
Okay, yeah.
So they have the entire interior of.
So as
Oh, sorry. In the level design, her dad is passed out, drunk, sleeping in a chair in the background, and you can interact with things in the level that'll fall and hit him.
okay, I was just gonna say Beverly is running through the apartment. Holly's chasing her, and as she passes her dad sitting in the recliner, she hits him with the happy slapper and kills him. End of match.
No, they still fight. We all agree that somehow her dad does
Yeah.
die in this fight.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But one of those two will also die.
I'm still torn. I'm not sure who.
I'm still imagining them just fighting in the bathroom, and it's a tiny little bathroom, and they look at each other, and then Holly just brains her once with the happy slapper, and it's over. And that's the whole fight. They just kind of look at each other, and then bonk, and it's over.
Bonk. Does Beverly have anything?
Beverly knows how to dance.
She can
Does
she
that
can Lindy
help?
Hop.
Yeah.
No, there is a record player that is playing a Lindy Hop.
I really think the only chance she has is if she does have a super move where she summons the other losers club and they shoot some sort of big beam weapon at her.
It's the rock fight attack where she loads her slingshot with a rock and then fires it, and then a bunch of rocks being thrown by the other kids come in. That's her
Yeah.
special move. Yeah.
I'm ready if you guys are.
You're the first,
I'm going to give it to Holly and her happy slapper.
Ben.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Holly because she's a grown up.
That's true. What does Holly sustain?
I think she gets a rock to the eye.
Ooh.
I think the trauma of having murdered an innocent child.
Rock to the eye.
Rocks to the eye or trauma. Well, she's about to fight another teenager, so
Oh my gosh.
I like it. Rock to the eye. So
Her vision is
Her
impaired.
vision is impaired going into her next round. Our final four is 3 children and Holly.
Holly starts a school for all the girls who are too powerful to have normal lives.
Well-
She's Professor X.
No, because at this point in time, all those girls are as old as Holly. Holly is a contemporary of them in her timeline because all of them were kids at the time of their stories. Which that just means they're all equals. They're a super team instead of her being a lead.
I know, but she's encountering
she's
them
not
as
the
children.
Charles Xavier. She's the Charlie from Charlie's Angels.
All right.
Actually, I always think Holly's younger. I think Holly's in like her because
Right.
they talk about her like graying hair, and she's way too old to be living at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say she's in her 30s because I know the age gap between her and Bill Hodges is just outside of acceptable.
Yeah.
the way it's
Well, they're not boning.
But like that's part of the design is that she's young enough to be older than his daughter, but young
But
enough.
safe from boning.
Right. She has plot armor from penis.
What?
Plot armor, penis protection.
I love that.
I hate that.
All right, it's time for the semifinals. These are where it's going to get real serious because now we've got 4 combatants and some damage carried over. So let's get started. We have Charlie, who currently has a stab wound, and we have Abra, who is missing her left arm. Going into battle. CM, where does this fight take place? Charlie has been the top seed, so she hasn't gotten to have her own arena yet.
Let's put her in the cabin.
The cabin where
they hide out and think that nobody's watching them, but the shop's been watching them for 3 months.
Yeah, in the winter.
All right, kick ass. Cabin in the woods. All right, so Charlie, man, again, we put her in a position. I don't know if she's gonna want to go all out because this place actually kind of means something to her now. But Abra's missing an arm, and I imagine that she's not taking that super duper well. So does that work? Is that an advantage in that she's distracted, or is it a disadvantage in that Abra Stone might be becoming feral at any moment?
It depends on whether she can keep her powers under control. Because I think if her shining abilities to enter the Mind Palace is the biggest threat to Charlie, because her powers can't really work, I assume, if she's just a consciousness inside of the creation of Abra. I mean, maybe her physical body in the physical world can be throwing fireballs around, but if she's not there to consciously control it, it's not like aimed. It's just wild.
Wow. Yeah.
And with Abra being able to, Abra can still get inside her head. And okay, Abra is going to jump into Charlie's mind to pull a distraction from her past. Ben, what's the most distracting thing she could project in front of Charlie?
From Charlie?
Yeah.
The girl that basically watched her parents be killed? Like...
Oh, I was going to say in the airport when she lights that guy's foot on fire.
I don't know. That would be enough of a distraction.
Just trying to keep it light. No, I mean,
yeah,
honestly,
a lot of
think
these,
about the context of that scene, because she has that conversation with her now dead father about pushing and being careful with her powers, and she's very distraught and upset over having hurt somebody. So I think that is very distracting.
So Abra's move essentially is it's a trauma
Guilt
attack.
her. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah.
What it comes down to, I think, is we are dealing with 2 people who have apocalyptic powers.
Yeah.
And the question is, can Charlie tell that her existence is in danger to the point that she has to go supernova a bit, like you mentioned, Ben, and risk basically blowing a fuse before the final to stay alive and defeat Abra before Abra can realize that she has to go for the kill hard, because if Charlie gets the chance to go supernova, she's toast. So which one of them will recognize that this is the do or die to go all out first?
It's hard because Charlie, again, like I said in the first episode, kind of walks that line of being an antagonist. She makes some choices, but Abra also has that Jack in her. So I think they both have that dark side. And that's what makes this round really hard, because I think they'd both realize that and be fighting to the death with each other.
Here's the movie scene of this fight that I want to see. Charlie is in the cabin. She sees Abra outside approaching the cabin. They meet each other on the shore of the lake, and they start the battle. But then you see that Abra's a state away, as has been set up. And Abra is keeping, it is all happening in this mind palace, except that Charlie is very real, using her powers, and Abra realizes, oh, I've made a mistake, because she is going supernova, and if she keeps going, she'll destroy the world. So Abra is essentially, through mind trickery, makes Charlie go so supernova that the ground underneath Charlie begins to melt, and she, in the middle of this mind battle, Charlie melts into the ground and is essentially consumed into the core of the earth and disappears, becoming the fire at the center of the planet.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That
I
fucking
think-
rules.
Yeah. And that's how it would go down. She would have to use her mind to trick her and she would just destroy herself.
Yeah.
I think the shine might beat Charlie's power
Yeah.
Yeah.
if used correctly and timely.
And the damage, I think, would be Abra holding the psychic fire. It's not real fire,
Yeah.
but essentially holding the rage and fury and the power that Charlie has inside of her head.
I feel like she's burning up
Fries out
inside.
somehow.
Yeah.
Something inside of Abra.
She can never not feel the heat,
Mhm.
even though she wasn't there.
Yeah. Ooh, you guys.
Yeah,
Why are we
that's
so mean to
rad.
these
Why don't we
children?
write books?
Because we need it to be based off of someone else's several intellectual properties.
Now you just change the names.
All right, so then we have Barry White versus Smalley.
Yeah.
Change their names.
Good job.
No one will know. Our next semifinal round, we have Carrie White, who is dealing with an axe wound in her back and a concussion against a one-eyed Holly Gibney. As the lower seed, Holly gets the favorable arena. Ben, where are we?
We're in that dope ass cave.
Hell yeah.
The jizz cave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about how much jizz that grief monster produced. So much.
Don't they all produce a lot of jizz?
All the grief monsters?
Yeah.
All the grief monsters, you know?
Yeah, they're just men. That was the point.
Terrific.
I have-
So we're in a cave underground.
That is the only advantage Holly has against someone like Carrie, I think, because I do give it to Holly when it's more of a combat situation with someone who is also just a person like her. But for me, I feel like Carrie still has the advantage.
Right now, Holly has to play the waiting game. She's not actively bleeding. Carrie has a axe wound in her back, and if her ears are ringing in a concussion, is she going to be able to track her down before she's too weak to basically use her telekinesis and throw a wall of rocks?
Yeah.
Because if Carrie gets one clean shot, it's game over.
Right.
With all the debris, all the rocks everywhere, just pulling stalactites out of the sky.
She just burst Holly's heart in her chest.
That's true. But she can't lock in on it because
Yeah.
she got a concussion.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what makes it. There's got to be the clear line of sight.
I have a problem. I can't think about this fight because all I'm thinking about is the story of who I want to be in the final fight.
Nice. All right. I have a strong opinion,
Okay.
and it is that I think Holly's advantage is, again, it's patience. She can stand to wait this out. She's the one who has to get up and close and personal. So if she makes herself hard to find, Carrie's losing blood by the second. If she can get out there, and she has to make the one shot. This fight comes down to who gets that first shot, because that's it.
Yeah.
So I think Holly can wait longer, which makes Carrie weaker and eventually gives her the advantage. But the question is, can she stay hidden, stay elusive long enough?
I want Carrie to win. That we could have the fight between Carrie White and Abra,
Yeah.
which I think would be very cool. Mind powers versus mind powers. But I do think you're right that Carrie is so wounded. We're seeing Carrie now the way she was at the end of the book, where she is just limping along the side of the road. And I very much see this as, I don't even know that Holly needs to kill her. I think Holly comes up behind her with as she like finally collapses on the ground, and then Carrie turns around and dies inside of her head like she does with Sue Snell. And then it's just a matter of whether or not Holly has the mental fortitude to live with that.
I say no.
Carrie doesn't need much notice, though. Once she hears Holly or Holly's honor, if she has just enough power left to throw her off and throw a boulder on her, then she's got it.
Yeah, that's what makes it so tricky. I
'Cause
like
her powers are really strong. I mean, as a child, she made it rain boulders.
Mhm.
And that's when she didn't even know what she could do. And when we see her, towards the end of the book, she has been flexing and exercising those powers. So even with a concussion and an axe wound, I think that her powers are still great enough that she has the advantage just from being a supernatural being.
She brings the cave down over top of them, and then we see Sue Snell walking up to the empty lot where the cave was, and there's a cross that says Carrie White burns in hell.
Yep.
And then her hand pops.
So Carrie's died twice.
Okay, here's how I think this fight ends, since I'm picking first. Anyway, I think that it's a long game of that cat and mouse, and at a certain point, because Carrie's just aimlessly throwing, maybe getting some hits, maybe not, but as the pain gets intense, she basically just takes one side of the cave and shoves it to the other side of the cave, and just that desperation tidal wave of stones and takes her out, or at least knocks her to her feet and leaves her open. And then she brings a stalactite down and drops a stalactite through her throat.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Sure.
I wanted to give it a Mortal Kombat ending.
No,
So.
yeah, I love that. Yeah, Carrie.
All right. We have Carrie White advancing. I think taking no damage because, again, I think that's it was a one shot for either one of them.
Sorry, Holly.
So now we have the finals. It has all come down to this. In one corner, we have Abra Stone missing her left arm and her mind's on fire. Then we have Carrie White, who is bleeding from an axe wound to the back and battling a concussion.
Her mind is on concussion.
And this fight happens.
Final destination, no items.
Oh, shit. I was going to say, on a plot of land where Carrie's house used to be, where there's a sign. Yeah, this fight happens in the Null.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, Can Carno Ray.
Yeah. Lana Del Rey. Exactly. Yes.
Jeez.
Video games. It all comes full circle.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now, we have two telekinetic giants here.
Yeah.
Here's the one thing that I don't know which one of you brought up earlier when we were recapping Abra's powers, but hasn't actually come up in the fights. And I think that it's an absolute travesty not to use it. Abra has to Captain Ginyu somewhere. They have
Holy
to switch
shit.
bodies,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
There has to be a moment where she's like, oh man, I don't have an arm. I can't keep going like this. Like,
Do you
I'm
think
all
she can
burned.
make that permanent?
I don't know.
That's a scary thought. Like she's ridden shotgun and, piggybacked off of someone else. But the idea of jumping into Carrie's body and then destroying her old body, I don't know. Like,
Yeah,
that's a high risk, high reward because
mean-
she could just kill herself. What if she can't?
yeah, she
maintain
punches
it
a
without
hole in her
body?
chest through her Saiyan armor.
Yeah, exactly.
But her body is still functioning, so I would think that her consciousness is an extension away from herself, but there's still that connection.
And her mind's still on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie projects herself into Abra's mind, which we know that she can do, and then everything in there is on fire. So
Holy shit.
This is hard. They're both very powerful girls.
Yeah.
Okay, here's what we're boiling it down to. What is stronger, the shine or Carrie's telekinesis?
I mean, isn't her telekinesis the shine? Like, isn't it all the shine?
I know, but then we can't answer the question, Josh. Carrie is only tapped into a very physical aspect of her shine, while Abra seems to have explored nearly opened up all the possibilities. She's got the levers in her mind. She knows how to flip those switches.
also, the shine can affect things beyond
Yeah.
the
Mind and
beyond the mind, beyond
even physical,
being
yeah.
alive. Like
Mhm.
the shine she could, in theory, suck Carrie's soul out and put it in a lockbox. And then not only has she
Yeah.
won the fight, she stole her ghost.
So inside Abra's head, everything's on fire from Charlie, and Carrie is locked inside her head.
Oof. That's a massive burden
So
for poor Abra Stone.
Nobody wins.
Right. CM.
It's got to be Abra.
Ben?
I'm going to say Carrie.
Fuck you guys.
Just to
Oh!
say, fuck you, Josh, for coming up with this fun game for your friends.
And not giving us any information ahead of time so we could prepare.
Okay.
I gotta say, the nobody wins is kind of a beautiful ending.
So, Abra is more powerful, hands down. However, what equalizes them for me is, as fucked up as Carrie is, she made it into this round unscathed. She didn't have to face Charlie McGee. And I feel like that battle would have taken so much just to survive it that I think Carrie takes the win. I think Abra essentially fought a god and won. I don't know how much more you have left in the tank.
But Carrie's been wandering around a dark cave bleeding out. How much energy does she have to fight?
I don't know. I like Carrie first and final girl. Like,
oh, that is nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's Carrie White.
Carrie deserves a win, y'all.
Nothing tops the shine like Abra has for me.
Well, and that's the thing, is if when I did this bracket, when I was putting the people together, I immediately thought Abra. Like I don't know anybody who could beat her in a fight. But again, going against Charlie, the way we talked about what an epic fight. Like, if that would have been the final, I mean, that was a final. She did a final before a final.
Charlie and Abra are both stronger than Carrie.
Yes.
Because
the draw. I think it all comes down to where the draw led them.
I lost.
No, you didn't. We don't win and lose.
And now
we all make the winners.
Super secret final boss of March Madness. Who wins, Carrie White or CM Alexander?
I've already fought her on our fight night.
That is true. That is true. And you won.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well then the winner of this year's March Madness is CM Alexander.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Stephen King's ultimate killer lady. CM, what's it like to be the most violent lady inside of Stephen King?
It's glorious. We will see you next time, listeners. Hey everyone, CM Alexander here. Thank you for listening to our final round of March Madness. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Derry Public Radio or X at Derry Public, and send us your ideas for our next March Madness to our Gmail at derrypublicradio@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our Etsy store for merchandise and our Patreon for bonus episodes every month. That's all for now, listeners. Goodbye.